I'd like to introduce you to an old friend of mine. We worked together on Southern Sound Radio, a commercial radio station on the coast in Sussex. I did the breakfast show between 6 and 9. He was the housewife's choice between 9 and noon. Now, when we left, I went to become a television producer and he joined the BBC World Service.
BBC News with Stuart McIntosh. The company that owned the Deepwater Horizon oil drilling rig Transocean has agreed to pay $1.4 billion. My job involves telling the news. We're called news readers, but it shouldn't sound like I'm reading it off a page. It should sound like I'm giving it the right inflection, the right gravity, so that it sounds as if you're the only person I'm telling the story to. That's the important bit.
And when TV first started, the news reader was the model for news bulletins.
Here is an illustrated summary of the news. It'll be followed by the latest film of events and happenings at home and abroad.
Svetlana Stalin is hidden tonight somewhere in Switzerland after her flight from Russia via Delhi and Rome. News from Washington is that President Johnson personally ordered that she should not be taken to the United States so as to avoid straining US-Soviet relations.
In those early days, newsreaders were never seen because it was feared that our facial expressions might not always look impartial, and worse still, that we might turn the news into a personality performance.
None of those early BBC newsreaders, Kenneth Kendall, Michael Aspel, Richard Baker, were journalists. It was different in the United States, where from the very start, news shows were driven by personalities.
We'll tell you what's happening today. My name is Jack Lascula. And here is Dave Garroway.
Well, here we are. And good morning to you.
Garroway at Large, presented by Congolia Nairn Incorporated.
That fella, Dave Garroway, was already well known as a TV personality.
But you are, and this is our house.
But I think the BBC misunderstood the nature of television. Television creates personalities. And these men and women appeared every day on our television sets. Women because Nan Winton was the first BBC TV female newsreader in 1960. And they appeared and became our friends. We liked their ties. We didn't like what they were wearing. I wonder where he lives. I wonder if he's married or not. All that kind of stuff. They became celebrities. And in Britain, this appearance by Angela Rippon, one of the BBC's female newsreaders, changed everything.
A report on the economy has just come through from number 11 Downing Street. The Chancellor's statement reads as follows. There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance.
Let's face the music and dance!
Now, Angela's appearance on the Morecambe and Wise show caused some controversy. It gave television news immense publicity, but it was decided that this, and newsreaders and TV men appearing on a later Morecambe and Wise show, that all this was undermining the credibility of news itself. So it was decided that journalists would deliver the news. But now the journalists became personalities in their own right. To show how important they were, their desks became bigger.
Good evening.
Their studios and the title music became grander. Now, I myself was a witness to this dollop of self-importance by the news department. It happened during the 1970 election campaign. I remember a group of film editors wandering around. We were seconded to the news division, and we were wandering around the studio, the election studio, and I got lost.
Well, the moment of reckoning has now arrived, and our whole operation from this studio is geared to one thing and one thing only, to get the results to you as quickly as we can, as clearly as we can, and to work out what they mean.
0.3% swing to knock out Labour's majority, or a 4.3% swing to give the Conservatives an overall majority.
And this was a low-tech, high-profile statement of power. And over the years, it's grown and grown.
Good evening and welcome to the BBC Election Centre. Tonight is the third time in just over 2 years that we've come here to discover the result of a major UK-wide poll.
Hello, everybody. So this is our control room.
And over the years, these cathedrals of news have become more and more complex, grander and grander, with more and more high priests and gimmicks.
But you know what they didn't have? A rotating set. Yes, so we go from our window on the world, we turn it around,
And it's even trickled down to local television stations.
We're unveiling our new set this morning on Virginia Today. It's taken months of hard work and nearly 2 years of planning, and we are so excited to share with you a first look at all our new set has to offer.
Guys, we're just going to do the A block.
Our team has spent weeks extensively training on the new set, doing rehearsal after rehearsal.
Thank you, Rachel.
Our production department has put in a lot of long days and nights learning the ins and outs of the new advanced system.
And there's a lesson for my old friends at the BBC. Before you do it, learn the ins and outs of the new technology.
What is that? We're just running through all our cameras to see that they're all working. Checking they're all good. Those two are working. This one's working too. Hello.
Good evening and welcome to BBC News. I'm Martine Croxall. It's 9 o'clock. I'm just going to move back to the main set. I know this has happened before, but here we are. If I sidle in, you can pretend that you haven't noticed. Here we are. Lewis Hamilton has won the Formula One. Joanna Gosling. Hello. I'm terribly sorry. We've had this problem before, haven't we? I'll make my way back to the desk.
Hello and welcome.
It must be so distracting working in studios where automated cameras turn themselves on and off and wander around the studio floor like Daleks.
On BBC One when Clive Myrie will have.
Hey, Carol, surprise.
This is BBC News. I'm Carol Walker. The headlines.
And the news worldwide has long abandoned the image of the news reader.
Melissa Theroux is a French news anchor for M6. When you Google beautiful news anchors, you mainly see her picture in the results. Not only is she beautiful, but she has skills in front of the camera too.
Quote, not only is she beautiful, but she also has skills in front of the camera. I thought it was the other way around. And news anchors also feel free to wash their dirty linen in public.
Jim, I think the lady expressed herself, and you're not here, you're there. Is there any question you'd like me to ask her?
No, I'll give you lessons on how to become a reporter later
I'll give you some lessons on how to be an editor, because I was your boss once.
Yeah, you were, and are no longer. How did that happen?
Well, I don't know.
Here's Ernabel de Milo.
But things have changed. What these mammoth organizations don't understand is that you don't need the big studios and the elaborate music to impress people or to gain an audience. Let me give you an example. There's a fellow called Joe Rogan. He has 190 million downloads of his podcast. Does he have the elaborate music? Does he have the title sequences? This is how he starts his show.
Hello, Ben.
Hey, how's it going, dude?
We're here. We did it.
We did?
And that's all you need. Content. But before I go, let's just sneak back to the BBC and if they've figured out the ins and outs of the new technology.
You're watching BBC News at 9 with me, Carrie Gracie. The headlines.
Well, that's a relief.